by Washington Health Plan Finder.
With flu season just ahead, the American Academy of Pediatrics this week is urging doctors to be extra careful before prescribing antibiotics for kids. Studies show as many as 10 million unnecessary prescriptions are still being written each year, and the consequences are already being felt. Dr. Wendy Sue Swanson explains.
Okay, one step at a time.
When David Ricci arrived home from India after being hit by a train in 2011, losing a leg was only the beginning of his ordeal.
He came back to Seattle with the most god-awful infection.
Dr. Scott Weissman's job is to track infectious diseases. He says David contracted NDM1, an extremely drug-resistant bacteria found in New Delhi's drinking water. But that's not the only dangerous, new, more invasive bacteria or superbug.
There's one type called the KPC bacteria that produced a deadly outbreak at a National Institute of Health hospital in Maryland that some people have read about, that emerged in the Northeast and has spread across the United States in a westward movement that we haven't seen a lot of, but that we're looking for in Washington State.
Trouble is, we're running out of options to treat these bugs, and the bugs keep getting smarter.
When you grow up every 20 minutes, you get smart fast. And most bacteria replicate every 20 minutes.
Dr. Matthew Kronman says antibiotics are still being prescribed even when they're not needed. Superbugs aren't the only consequence.
Every dose of antibiotics, in effect, changes who we are.
Antibiotics kill the good bacteria as well as the bad.
We have an extra organ that we haven't really been accounting for in Western medicine, and that organ is our own microbiome.
The microbiome is the good bacteria in our gut and on our bodies that keeps us healthy and that protects us naturally from superbugs, so doctors don't have to resort to more extreme solutions.
We're occasionally having to reach back and think about using antibiotics that were common in the 1940s and 1950s, and that we've set aside and not used for decades because of their terrible side effects, but now we don't have any other options for some patients.
That's what saved David, who is happy to be alive.
It's so good.
So all of these reminders and data just help us be great stewards together. We can use antibiotics only when necessary, and we can have great discussions with our clinicians about when to use them and when to avoid them so that we can protect the rich, healthy microbiome in our bodies. I'm Dr. Wendy Sue Swanson, King 5 News.
In children, antibiotics usually are not needed for ear infections or for bronchitis. They don't help and, in fact, can potentially do long-term harm.
An 8-year-old boy can run circles around most of us.